Okay, so the second part that I want to show you is when we're using logic to complete a graph. It's one thing to have the image there, but we need to use logic to understand what information is actually there. So we're going to do three things in this instance. We're going to use some information to actually graph first. So that's something that we've practiced already. We're just going to put it into more practice here. Then we're going to look at the last thing we just looked at, which was, is it even a function? So we'll do our vertical line test. And the last thing is that logic step. So we're actually just setting everything up for the very last step, which we need to figure out if we're connecting dots or not. But before we get close to that, we need to graph the information that we have. So the graph that I've started for you is the number of students that show up late to class in 1 week. Believe it or not, while we were in class, I kept a tally of it, hoping that I could show this to you. And as it turns out, I still can. So we're going to look at how many students showed up late to 1 week in class. I don't remember what week it was, but either way, we're going to work with these numbers. Now, the first thing I did, I can put it right onto the graph, but I've set up a table of values first. So the number of students in that week that showed up 2 minutes late, there was 9 of them. So we look on our x-axis, find 2, which is our independent variable. Remember, time is always independent. We can't change time. But we can change the number of students that are late, just come to class on time. So 2 matches up with 9. We're going to continue that with the rest of our time slots. So about 4 minutes late, there was 10 students that week. So 4 minutes is down here on the x-axis and all the way up here. 10. I'm writing at an angle, so I'll realize later when I edit if I'm off by a little bit. It's hard to see when you're writing at an angle. Moving on to 6 minutes on the x-axis, there's only around 3 people. Not a good thing to show up to class on time. At 8 minutes, there's actually nobody in that week that showed up late, so that's going to be right on the axis here. Our next point is 10 minutes late to class. There was 2 people that week. Lastly, 12 minutes, there was nobody. Okay, so using our table of values, we've dealt with the first thing and we've graphed our information. And now I don't even need this table of values. In fact, I can get rid of it and you can still tell me how many people were late 4 minutes. 10 of them, just by looking at the graph. How many people were late by 12 minutes? Nobody. Again, just by looking at the graph. So the picture is really good. It's really helpful for us. Part 2, we need to see if this is a function. So if you remember, we figured that out by using our vertical line. So let's take our vertical line and move it all the way across. And you'll notice that we don't actually cross 2 points at the same time. Because of that, we can say that yes, this is in fact a function. So there's one final part that we have to solve now. And that's whether we should connect the dots. And this is the logic part that comes into play. If we connect the dots, our graph is going to look a lot nicer. It looks like a more complete graph. I put some dots in all the way over here. Here's the logic though. Let's start with our x-axis, where we're looking at minutes late. Is it possible to be between 2 and 4 minutes late? And the answer is yes. You could be 3 minutes late. So it would make sense if there was a point in between 2 and 4. We'd ask the exact same question to our other axis, however. Is it possible to have between 2 and 4 students? This is a trick question because immediately your answer would be yes, you could have 3 students. I can ask you the same question again, except this time using 3 as one of my parameters. Is it possible to have between 2 and 3 students? I mean, the answer is still yes, but that's a crime. But mathematically, no, you can't have between 2 and 3 students. So if I had a line, and I'm going to erase it in a second here. If I had a line that looked like this line is telling me that it's possible to have 1 student that was 1 minute late for class, but there was also half a student that was half a minute late for class. That doesn't make sense. You can't have that half student there. There's no such thing. Logic tells us in this case that no, we do not connect our dots. Sometimes you will, and you'll see it in your practice. But in this case here, so your practice is up here. Give it a try. As always, let me know if you need a hand with anything. I'm more than happy to help you out by email. If enough people are asking about it, I'll make a video about it and we'll try to solve it that way. Other than that, hope you guys are doing well. All right, you guys take care.